Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mystics of Texas. Today we're going to be talking about all of the tools that are inward and outward that the universe, God, has given to us so that we can use them and be aware of them and what forces influence our lives that we may not be aware of. And Aaron, we're in the middle of a presentation. And it's pretty powerful, these things. And I think we need to be aware of them. Because to truly live, we must be aware of our environment. We must be aware of our inward environment. We must be truly aware of what's going on around us, whether it's specifically locally in our state and our government and the world, and how that impacts our life. And we're going to start off this with a lot of these outward forces, because sometimes these outward forces influence our minds and our spirit and the way we perceive things, which ultimately have a direct effect on our life. And I think it's important. We've touched on several times here about how big ag poisons us. You can't go anywhere practically, any restaurant, without poison in your body. It's really sad. And Mother Earth has given us enough resources that nobody should be hungry in this world. Every public street where they plant these shade trees, they can all be fruit trees. All down interstate, just like they do in Italy, they're just covered in grapes and apples. There's no reason why that shouldn't be the case in the United States. If you're hungry, you should just be able to go pick up an orange. If you're in Florida off the side of the street, they should be everywhere. Ground cover should be strawberries and everything else. We should not have a food problem in this country. And we're penalizing speech, and people's bank accounts are being frozen and stolen. That's a problem. Directly affects your life. Directly affects your life. And a bunch of other things, especially for my buddy Steve, the pineal gland is being harmed dramatically by fluoride. It is a sad thing. Everybody's heard of Roundup, right? Everybody. Most people have used Roundup. They have paid the largest criminal fine in human history. But you can still go buy it. You can still all get cancer from it. Who knows? Maybe they tweaked it. Maybe it's totally fine for you now. Maybe you can just drink it. I think it's interesting that we've been sold on this idea. Most people associate Bayer with the wonderful little aspirin that we take to reduce the risk of heart attack. So we have this positive thing of Bayer. Yet they're paying billions and billions and billions of dollars in fines for causing cancer. Not much talk about that. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip of the iceberg of how these big things are happening. How about big ag? Has any of y'all, I'm just curious with a show of hands, we've got a pretty good crowd in here today. How many have heard about all these farmer revolts that are taking place around the world? We got three people in this big crowd. 4. These are massive events. Governments around the world, from the Netherlands, Greece, France, all over the world. These guys are dumping cow shit on the road because they've had enough. The government is squashing farmers all over the world. Do these people not realize that if we don't have farmers, we have no food? Except big ag. We're all forced to go get what Bayer, Monsanto, all these people are producing, and then we lose our freedom of choice, because most people think in the grocery store, we can just go into the grocery store, we get all these selections, but they're all owned by the same people. They just put different names on it, different labels, but it's all the same junk. These people are protesting everywhere, all over the globe. And we're not hearing almost nothing about it. Look at the lines of these farmers in their tractors. Like, it's amazing, because they understand what's happening. And most of this is disguised as climate change. Like, we got to implement these things because you're affecting the climate, but those things affect those small farmers and not big ag. Like, those are the resource that keep us alive and keep the hope of food quality high for the rest of us. It's kind of scary. It's really scary, actually. Because without regular farmers, how do you know where your food comes from? Like, there's a place right down the road in Morningsport where we get our beef. whenever we don't have enough cows, like when we don't have taken ours to the slaughter and we run out and we get our milk from there. Man, I know where that guy is. I know how he does it. I've been in his facility. I see how he works. I love it. I love supporting him. I know his milk is good and clean. I know his cows are happy. What happens if we don't know that? It's a problem. So who's controlling what we see? We got a big crowd out here. 4 people only knew that we're having protests around the world right now and have been for a little more than 2 years. Nonstop. Why don't we see this? Who's controlling all this stuff? But they don't want us to have options. When I say they, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization. It's scary. Why? Because they're all owned and controlled by the same people. It's really, 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 really scary. Like super scary. If y'all don't know anything about it, I highly recommend you go do your own research. I believe, and us here, that it is incumbent upon us to use that tool of our critical thinking so that we know what's going on around us. We are our food. How about this? Have anybody heard of Operation Mockingbird? Anybody? 2 people in here in this big crowd have heard of Operation Mockingbird. I think you'd be shocked to know this is a Senate Select Committee hearing where they're talking about the CIA's use of journalists and clergy in churches. And when I say journalists, I'm talking about CNN, Fox News, all of them, all the major ones. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, they're going to give you the exact propaganda they need to give you to feed whatever you're most inclined to believe. These are facts. This isn't some conspiracy theory. It's right there open to anybody that would take the time to look at what's right in front of your face. One of the tools given to us is our ability to spend a little time, not all day, every day, just a little time to know what is happening around you that you are not seeing and aware of. I just don't think our higher power, the infinite, the universal energies, God, wants us to be stupid. I just believe we should come together like we're doing here so that we can learn, so that we can help each other, so we can grow, we can share different ways to meditate, so we can connect. We can be good stewards of the land. It's the only land we've got. If we're not taking care of it, we're turning it over to other people that have very, very dark hearts. And it's very dangerous. And we allow it to happen because almost nobody is aware of it. The CIA paid and threatens journalists to do its work. This has been going on since World War II. And it's worse now. There is almost no journalist that's not on the payroll of the CIA or an intelligence group. That is scary that most Americans do not know that. And it's been made available. It's public knowledge. But I guarantee you, Fox News and CNN and all these other places, they're not going to be telling you about it. They have something else to tell you. They have separation and division and to keep us divided. You know, you're a Catholic, you're a whatever, you're a liberal, Democrat, you're a Republican, whatever. It's also stupid. Let's feed them. Let's force them. Like I was reading a comment today from my good friend who's finally back. You know, trickle-down economics didn't work, but it goes way beyond that. Way beyond that. We print money out of nothing. If you put too much of something into the world, all of a sudden its value becomes less. I heard somebody say earlier yesterday that they are making physically more money today, but they don't have a purchasing power as they did several years ago. Well, that's not from trickle-down economics. That's from overprinting money. We're devaluing our currency. This girl right here, we're penalizing independent journalists. Censorship has been a big deal. Like this video specifically will probably be shadow banned or even taken off of YouTube. Probably. I think it's interesting because this girl started doing reporting on her local town. And so the local town starts punishing her. She starts getting censored on social media from the powers that be because they don't want all this corruption exposed. Now she's got some backing from some big freedom fighters that are going to protect her. But nobody knows about these independent people. How about Julian Assange? Oh man, don't leak emails from the powers that be. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. Better not start releasing information that threatens the establishment, or you're not going to do well. You're going to be in jail. They're going to take your freedom. They're going to take you and put you in a little cage, which people call jail, for doing what's right. And we have these kind of fights going on right here in this county. I mean, I'm personally facing with this sanctuary all sorts of problems from the local government. I find it insane. I mean, what do we have? 30 people here today, whatever it is. And we come out here all during the week. We do all this wonderful stuff. It's insane. It's insane. You know, who knew? I am glad people are waking up. This coming Wednesday, we're going to watch this documentary, The Threats of the Theaters of War. Most people don't know that almost every movie that you've ever seen has been directly funded or written by or had large involvement from the Pentagon. Has anybody known that? 1, 2 people out here? 3 people? Almost every movie you've ever seen has told you what to think and how to perceive the world. That's a big deal. Pretty big deal, huh? The most popular movies you may not have known were backed by the Pentagon. Get out of here. I'm just going to show you a couple of samples. This is like the tip of the iceberg. It's almost all of them. And why would they want to do that? Like, why would they want to, like Top Gun, all of these other movies? They have to brainwash people to be super patriots so they can get these people who have great hearts and are really, most of them are really brave, awesome people. Many of us out here were in the military, including me. Man, we have a good movie like Top Gun and we give somebody an enemy and all of a sudden we get to go join and fight and protect freedom. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Almost every movie you've seen. I'm glad y'all are aware. I couldn't help but add this. Wait, there's more. Yeah, since the 50s, this has been going on. And it's right in front of everybody's face. Freedom of information requests and fights have made all of this public. It's all public knowledge. It's just out there for anybody to see. And big time people talk about it. How about this? This is bad. Right across our border, those nice people of Canada, they don't want you talking about anything. They're putting people in jail for saying anything that goes against the government narrative. Anything. If you're against any vaccine for any reason, jail. They're already putting them people in there. If you talk bad about your government or have legitimate criticisms about your government, jail. That's next door. It's their next door neighbor. And I think we've been warned. There's a lot of these countries that are just natural testing grounds. How about this document? If you don't think it's true, you can just go right to their website. You can just go read these documents of the CIA. They're like just open for anybody just to go read. Where they're just talking about it right down to your face, how they're breaking down worldwide doctrine, where they're hiring intellectuals at different colleges. They're pushing their agenda. And what is their agenda? They're not Republicans or Democrats. They're not liberals and conservatives. They are tyrants. And they all believe the same thing. They don't like freedom. How about this? How about this? Dragging this pastor out of his church because he was warning his constituents, his people that were coming to see him. He was warning them against getting a shot. Whether you believed him or not, he had the right of free speech. He could talk however he wanted to. But just because he was talking, they drug him out into jail. How about this guy? This guy was doing all kinds of cool stuff and they locked him out of his church. You know, you can't help people, you can't feed people, you can't talk about health and security and building each other up. You can't do that because we're going to lock you out of your own place. Like it's happening. What we talked about several months ago about the pastor in Iowa or Idaho, I forget, wherever he was, there was a couple of them where they were getting arrested for taking in people that were freezing outside. These people are freezing. No, you're not taking those people in. No. We're going to shut you down. We're going to fine you. We're going to close you. That's happening now. So how does that affect our soul when we're trying to navigate and work on ourselves inwardly? How do we do that when we have all of these outward forces screwing with us? Man, it is not easy. I mean, it probably gives Aaron more anxiety. It's probably tough. How about this guy? This guy is a preacher, and he was just walking around handing homeless people food in the snow and cold. What they do? Every time he passed it out, they gave him a big fine. Every ticket. Oh, here's you some more food. Ticket. What kind of world are we living in when this kind of stuff happens, when we can't help our fellow man, when we can't uplift each other? It's dangerous. How about this? I mean, we see these are everywhere across the United States right now. People are living in tents all over the country. But what do? We're preparing to give another $400 million in weapons aid so we can send these boys, these brave, wonderful boys, to die for old men wanting more crap. Couldn't that $400 million be used to really, do some super good to help other people? Shouldn't we be taking care of ourselves, our inward spirit, so that we can radiate positivity to other people instead of just squashing and killing the human soul? Well, this is for you, Steve, because I just saw this meme and I just couldn't. It was funny and sad at the same time. Most of y'all probably don't know much about the pineal gland. I mean, we talk about it sometimes, but I don't go crazy in depth with it. But it's a powerful thing in our brain. There's some big universities who've done some serious studies on the pineal gland and what fluoride does to our body. This is bad. That's your pineal gland on crack, which is fluoride. You can't escape it. You shower in it. You drink it in almost every bottled water. And what did Harvard say? Harvard said it reduces people's IQ. It makes you not as focused. Makes your sleep bad. Let's just look at some of the stuff. Poor sleep, early puberty. We see these young girls TikToking, shaking their ass, and they're going through puberty much earlier. They look like grown women. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's just crazy. Breast cancer's through the roof. We have all sorts of stress. We're all stressed out to the max. We have all of these outside forces that are just stressing us the hell out. How do we deal with all this? How do we deal with it? This is one of the biggest takeaways from this study is a loss of spirituality. It makes your calcification, your fluoride intake is taking your desire for spirituality away. Does that explain why church attendance in the United States is dropping at dramatic levels? Does it explain why these spiritual groups, much like ours, are growing and growing and growing because they have been increasingly taking away fluoride out of their diets? Possibly. I find it interesting. There's me in India with one of those little dots, and forever, as long as in recorded history, India and Eastern philosophy have practiced and recognized that dot is to represent the third eye of our mind. And without that third eye, without that intuition, well, it's easier to control people, huh? If I'm not relying on my mind, spirit, and heart connection, if that is getting jumbled up with all this crap I've been giving by these people that like big agriculture, it's a lot easier to control the masses. I love wearing my dot, but in East Texas, it kind of makes you look silly. I don't know if y'all know this, but just so you know, for just a little piece of information, it's phosphate fertilizer industry. That's what fluoride is. That's where it comes from. It's an industrial waste byproduct. They could not get it. It was hard for them to get rid of. And so what do? They figured out what it can do to the human, and so they said, let's just put it in everybody's drinking water, everybody's bathing water. Let's just give it to everybody. Now we can get paid for getting rid of this waste, and We got the added benefit of making everybody stupid and losing connection with other people because we're destroying their organs designed to do that. Makes it difficult, huh? How about this? This is one of the biggest things. I showed Andrew this the other night when we were having steak. I mean, God's given us this life. We have this amount of time on earth. And what do? When most of us, we get up in the morning, we go to work, we earn some kind of currency. So we're giving this gift from the universe, and as we're trying to use our gifts, we're being stolen from every single day. Mostly without most people even realizing it until they go open a bag of chips that they just paid $5 for, and they go, wow, this bag used to be bigger than that. Yeah. How about this? Y'all think this is going to last much longer? In 1900, you can't even see the debt of the United States. That's in 2020. While we're working and spending our life trying to make it, these outside forces are causing us much pain. We feel it, we recognize it, but most people can't put their finger on it. They don't fully understand what's happening. And there's a lot to this. We're barely even scratching the surface today. But these are some of the major things that are right in front of your face that you can easily go discover and find out on your own. That's not going to last long. What is it? About every 250 years, another empire falls. What's going to happen? No, that's our dollar. That's how many dollars. That's how much debt we're in. What do you think when that turns around? It's going to be interesting. I think this is a bit of propaganda that all of us should be aware of. We've heard about defunding the police. Surely y'all have heard about this defunding police. Well, this is in Pittsburgh. We've been told by the police chief, and this isn't happening there. This is in 14 other major cities, and it's expanding. Leave your car keys at your front door for the criminals. The Pittsburgh police just said this a couple of days ago. And all these other big major cities are following. You have, take it. Take your car because it will reduce the risk of people breaking into your home to harm you. Just think about this propaganda for a second. Because if we continue to allow criminals to run free like they're doing all over the country, what happens? People get scared. They get fearful. Then what do they demand? They demand strength. They demand militaries in the malls. They demand militaries in the subway. They demand safety to give up their freedom. If you don't think this is a ploy by Republicans and Democrats, you are out of your mind. How does that affect us? When we want to go to a park and we want to pray or meditate or to have a picnic or love the people we're with. When we're afraid that we're going to get mugged by a gang of thugs. I didn't even mention today, we have all these military-age guys coming in from all over the world, just walking right over. It's real easy for a foreigner to point a gun at us. It's real easy. This has been done every time in human history. That's what we do. We just bring in people. Well, this is my son calling me. Hey, Jacob. It's a problem. So if you don't believe that's what's happening, well, it is what's happening. It's already happening in New York City. They just started putting the National Guard in the subways, and everybody's happy as hell about it because they're armed. They're just armed. It's interesting, huh? Do we use our critical thinking that's been given to us? Do we consider these things that are right in front of our face? I think we need community more than ever. I think we have to join together. I think the only solution to our lack of knowledge and understanding is more people knowing more stuff about different things I don't know about, and that y'all can bring them to my attention. I can bring them to y'all's attention. Steve can bring something to me, you, and we all just share it amongst ourselves. We help each other grow. We help each other think. So that maybe after this is over, we're eating and a couple of y'all go, yeah, well, I think that was bullshit. Maybe not. Or maybe let me go look at it for myself. Let me do my own homework so I can understand what's happening around me so I can be a person who understands how to navigate this world better, and I can pick and choose the people around me I can create my own family that supports and loves each other and helps make each other better people the best we can. I think that is the solution. I believe that is correct. But in community, I don't think we need to mistake kindness for weakness, as my buddy Ricky likes to say. A lot of people, we get together like this, it's pretty easy for people to start taking advantage of other people. Well, I can tell you that's not going to happen here. I'm not going to allow it. If this resonates with y'all, I just hope that y'all promote spiritual freedom, and I hope that you come out and visit. If you're local, come join us. I love y'all, I appreciate y'all, and there's a lot that we do and offer here. And it only happens and it only works if you come out and join. Thanks.